So we've identified two of them. And I think, really those are the main ones that we probably need to focus on. So what are the drivers of cost? The drivers of cost are A, price controls, which stifle innovation, compliance, which is unbelievable. If you were to walk into my office and see all of the unnecessary, unpatient-related regulations and restrictions and obligations that are on medical practice, it's amazing. Do you know that a doctor's office has to hire an interpreter for a foreign, whether they're illegal or not? Has to have that interpreter on site for the scheduled visit, whether or not the patient shows up, and is totally responsible for that. Did you know that with some latest regulation, doctors' offices now have to hire compliance consultants to make sure that they are ID theft proof, and actually are now on the front lines for ID theft, another cost. Did you know that when you go to an emergency room, it used to be that a nurse would see you at the front door of the emergency room, and if you came in with what many would consider an inappropriate presentation, a fever and a sore throat, the nurse would say, go see Barack Obama for a tonsillectomy. She would say, you have a temperature, looks like you're doing okay, why don't you see your doctor tomorrow? Under current law, called EMTALA, I don't even know, emergency medical treatment and something. Every person, I don't care if it's a lady who's missed her period and wants a pregnancy test, everyone that presents to an emergency room has to have what's called a full screening medical exam by a physician. Do you realize the cost? When you talk about waste, there's no fraud and abuse. The only fraud and abuse is what the government is imposing on people. So compliance costs are a huge driver of medical costs, okay? And finally, the tort system, the medical malpractice industry needs to be revised. Look, I'm in the crosshairs of lawyers all the time. 90% of OBGYNs in an ACOG, American College of OBGYN survey a couple of years ago, 90% of doctors said they've been sued at least once. Now, forget the personal injury that goes on in your psyche when that happens, because I've been there. Forget the time that it takes away from focusing on your patients. They don't care about your family. Your family does, they don't. But it really does drive up costs, because once a doctor, and surveys will confirm this, once a doctor's been sued, and most of the suits are dropped because most are trivial, most are not scientifically founded, the doctor forever changes their practice. That is a tremendous, tremendous cost. It's estimated that as little as $100 billion a year to as much as $1 trillion a year. And I think the $100 billion is a way woefully low underestimate. Philip Howard from Common Good, that's a great website, commongood.org. He's a lawyer who talks about these matters. He thinks it's more like $1 trillion. You change your patterns, I can tell you. I've worked with doctors who have been there and done that. You may order 5 or 10 CAT scans. You may tell the patient, they say, I have a headache, and you know it's because they haven't had their eyes refracted in 10 years. But you're going to get the CT scan, because if that's the 1 in 10,000 patient who really does have something going on in your toes. So who's going to pay for those costs? Someone's got to pay for them, right? So we have to somehow bring science and sanity and reason into the tort system. And there's really 3, I think, very sane ways to do that. And I don't really choose a winner or a loser. One is a British style, that's the one thing they do right, a loser pays system. So if someone considers the people who are involved in doing the suing need to have some skin in the game. The second one is a medical court system. You might say, well, I'm an originalist. I thought you were a patriot, man. That's unconstitutional. Medical courts, we have tax courts, we have family courts. There's precedent for special courts that require special expertise and special understanding of circumstances. Some of you may be in very highly technical industries, and you know that a jury of your peers is a jury of your professional peers. All of us would invite scrutiny by those, whether they're academics, whether they're practicing physicians, whoever. We would invite that. Because sadly, and this is according to a Harvard Business School study a few years ago, there's a disconnect between people that win judgments and people who actually deserve judgments. They look at thousands and thousands they found out that less than 2% of the people who are actually wrong, I'm talking about cutting out the wrong ovary, I'm talking about taking off the wrong leg, less than 2% of those people sue. The vast majority of people that win verdicts are not the people who need the judgment and who need the money. And it's sad. It's not fair to the people that deserve the negligence award. And on the same token, it costs all of us more money because everyone's practicing on the defensive side. And here's the real kicker. We've heard, whether it's Caucus, whether it's Pelosi, whether it's your leader, we've heard about the 47 million that are uninsured. Now, subtract the 10 million illegals, subtract the 17 million that could but don't buy insurance, subtract the 6 million who are eligible for government programs and aren't. Even the Kaiser Family Foundation says that between 10 and 14,000 people, 14 million people are truly uninsured. They don't make enough to buy insurance and they make too much to be eligible. I think we'll all agree there are people caught in between there. I take care of them all the time. Let's be generous. Let's say there's 15 million people that are truly uninsurable at this time. And let's even pad it a little bit and say that those 6 million that are eligible for programs, okay, we're going to count them in the cost formula for insuring the truly uninsured in this country. That's another myth that dear reader tries to point. He did modify that from 47 million to 30 million. Maybe if we get enough speeches to get it down to the real level. It turns out that, do some simple math. You can buy a very affordable, high deductible policy, even a moderate deductible policy, for about $5,000 for an individual, $10,000 for a family. But let's say $5,000. Let's even say $7,000, just to be conservative and generous. If you do the math and you multiply that 15 to 20,000 by the 7,000, if you just gave them the money to participate in the insurance market, and not only get better benefits than they do from the government programs, but also begin to become influencers of the market, you'd spend $150 to $200 million. That's fully a quarter of the lowest price tag, that's Caucus's price tag, that's on the table currently. And what did I say we could save by just some modest malpractice reform? $100, $200, $800 million.